are available at all times in all the health facilities in the country, urged to strengthen and improve governance, leadership, and management of supply chain services.
To you for the innovations that you have catalyzed to cut across various government departments for the digitization and management systems in various sectors.
The operation theatre building to power this very system. But then, because we would like to add a second operation theatre, we are worried that it will not be sufficient. So as suggested, if you could think of providing a reliable source of power.
The training, not all clinicians have been trained, because a dispenser, all clinicians, all nurses who make requisitions need to be trained in the system, so that even when someone comes to the store, the order is already in the stores person already has the order. So we are going to do on-site training.
And government through the Ministry of Education and Sports has commended the partnership with Uganda National Commission for UNESCO that is reflected in the National Development Plan 3 and various national policies. Speaking during the midterm review report, State Minister for Higher Education John Chrysostom Muyengo said the partnership will help achieve the implementation of sustainable development goals for education, science and cultural values.
Contributing to UNESCO's work. I am proud of the efforts of UNESCO and its partners and the collaborators in conducting this midterm evaluation to inform itself and stakeholders about the progress being made and the challenges being faced, so as to pick lessons that will help guide the operations in the remaining 3 years. First, by ensuring proper alignment with the National Development Plan 3, which I've learned has not made any reference to UNESCO and its interventions. This review that brings together various participants, including the National Planning Authority, can provide a platform to recognize the gaps and recommend appropriate measures to address them. In the education sector, we look at this review as an opportunity to strengthen the contributions of UNESCO to the new education sector strategic plan of 2021-2025. I therefore urge all of you partners, stakeholders of UNESCO, to pay very keen attention to the review report and the recommendations therein, so as to come up with a workable way forward that will serve to enhance the operations and the contributions of UNESCO to the development of our country.
How can we ensure that we catch up with lost time? We re-strategize and ensure that what we had planned to do, even without COVID, we can now do it with COVID. And how can we engage our stakeholders better? How can we look at our own challenges and ensure we address it in UNESCO's fields of competences, which are education, the sciences, culture and communication and information. So this is basically what we are here to do. We engaged a consultant to look at our plan and our performance, and she is going to make a report of it, and we shall work with our stakeholders to ensure that we address the challenges identified, the gaps identified, so that come 2025, when the strategic plan is ending, we can at least ensure that we have achieved more than 70%.
And the Minister for Relief, Disaster Preparedness and Refugees, Hilary Onek, has dispatched 775 tons of relief food to feed the people of Karamoja. In response to the food crisis in the region, government will feed the people of Karamoja for 3 months.
The Office of the Prime Minister has dispatched 552 tons of maize flour and 223 tons of beans and other supplements to the hunger-affected people and malnourished children in Karamoja.
We have a special diet for them, which will be served to them at the health centers. We are still in a discussion with the World Food Program, whether we cannot set up a feeding center where those who are really weak, they cannot carry portion beans to their home, they can feed themselves.
The American government has donated $21 million, Belgium government $4 million, and Japan $1 million. Government has committed $135 billion to support over 600,000 people in Karamoja with relief food for a period of 3 months.
In terms of the willingness of the leadership of Karamoja and the leadership of the nation, there is a willingness. But we must acknowledge there are gaps, financial gaps we have as a country. There are many problems we are solving. So when such a thing happens, it's not time to blame anybody, but it's time to join efforts to take action, to rescue a citizen.
Government has developed a disaster management plan where silos will be installed to respond to disasters and as well boost food production in Karamoja.
We are also liaising with the security agencies, particularly the army and police, to guarantee peace to these Karamojong when they're in their gardens.
Now these are the vehicles of the disaster management under the Office of the Prime Minister that are going to transport relief food to Karamoja. The Office of the Prime Minister has also been supported by the World Food Program and the Uganda People's Defense Forces.
So UPDF is our force that plays a positive role and comes up to the rescue of Ugandans when they face challenges like this. So it is perfectly in order and it is doing what is mandated to do by the Constitution.
We're very pleased to further support that this is just a small step in a larger response by the government and other agencies.
Ministries of Relief, Agriculture and Water officials are to meet to chart way forward and revive the 1969 project of pumping water for irrigation to Karamoja.
Pumping water from Lake Bisina. Bisina is one of the small lakes which contribute to Lake Kyoga. There was a project, a design which was made to pump water to the top of Napak Hill, and then from there it would gravitate throughout Karamoja up to Kabong, because that's the highest spot.
For the past 3 days, government has supplied 1,590 and 700 tons of maize and beans respectively to the districts of Kotido, Karenga, Moroto, Kabong, Nabilatuk and Napak. Ivan Kahwa, UBC News in Kampala.
Meanwhile, the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, has tasked the Presidential Affairs Committee and MPs from Karamoja region to monitor the food distribution process and come up with a clear report. During plenary, the Speaker also urged government to come up with a well-documented short-term, mid-term and long-term plan to manage the food crisis in Karamoja region.
Several tons of food were last week dispatched to the starving communities of Karamoja region in response to the call by the area leaders. This was confirmed to the House by the Prime Minister Robina Nabanja, who told the House that over 200 tons of food had been dispatched to the starving communities. However, a section of members of Parliament are still not in terms with the said food dispatch and the mode of distribution.
Inform the country how prepared the government is to feed the population, given an obvious across the country crop failure, given the long droughts.
With a contingency fund that this Parliament appropriated, we shall handle the situation.
Some members propose that a select committee be instituted to follow up on the matter.
This House ought to come up with a legislation that strengthens these district disaster management committees. My suggestion is that if you can, institute a select committee that can go on the ground and bring for us a reality. Because we are talking about the number of people who have now been buried
Speaker of Parliament Anita Mong during today's plenary sitting directed the Presidential Affairs Committee of Parliament and leaders of Karamoja to go and follow up on the food distribution and give a comprehensive account to Parliament in a fortnight.
Let's go and watch and see food being distributed. We cannot just sit in this house when people are dying down there. Let the people go and see that the food reaches to the rightful people.
Speaker Anita also demanded that government presents an updated attainable strategy on the short-term, middle-term and long-term management of the hunger crisis in Karamoja and other affected areas. State Minister for Karamoja Affairs Agnes Nandutu told the House that over 50 tractors are yet to be given to the Karamoja communities as one of the long-term strategies in addition to food distribution.
It is already going to provide for us tractors, about 50 tractors, to go and embark on food production in the region, such that we do not depend on relief all the time. Because we have a coordinated approach towards solving a problem in the Karamoja region. And not only Karamoja, in the whole country.
The Chief Opposition Whip, John Baptist Nambeshe, told the House that the hunger situation in Karamoja has also exacerbated acts of sexual harassment, slavery, and some acts of child abuse.
And by the way, you see children children of 14 years below, crushing stones and loading on those trucks.
The hunger in Karamoja was escalated by the drought that hit the region and insecurity. Susan Naung and Gloria Guitabinji reporting for ABC TV.
And the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development has announced the release of public expenditure funds for Q1 for the financial year 2022-23 amounting to 4.6 trillion excluding debt. In the same brief, Permanent Secretary and Secretary to the Treasury, Ramadhan Govi, gave an update on the economic status of the country.
Q1 funds for this financial year comes at a time of increased inflation caused by the COVID-19 pandemic effects on economies. This has prompted the Finance Ministry to derive expenditure limits based on available resources.
No recruitment should be done without clearance from Minister of Public Service after ascertaining availability of adequate wage from this ministry. Accounting officers are required to ensure that every promotion and redeployment of staff made to a different cost center is backed up by adequate wage provision.
Wages for public servants have been appropriated 1,695.8 billion shillings as opposed to the projected 1,595 billion. Non-wages 1,829.2 billion shillings as opposed to the projected 3,429.2 billion shillings. Development 596.738 billion as opposed to 2,380.4 billion shillings, while arrears to government suppliers 661.947 billion as earlier projected.
Accounting officers must prioritize payment of service providers on time and clearance of domestic arrears to avoid further accumulation of arrears and penalties. As you've heard, I've provided all of the money for arrears, despite the tight situation in which we have to operate. I'm mindful of the need to support those small businesses which supply government to get their money on time.
However, civil society is concerned that despite the plans to utilize the parish development model to improve livelihoods, there still exists glaring gaps in local government administration that could hinder its success.
Less than that, please do not send money for the parish development model. The second item, PSST, is limited adherence to public finance management rules and regulations. We are cognizant of your letter dated 7th July, where you suspended accounting officers at the local government level. A move we fully support and appreciate. But PSST, we know this is just not about submitting budgets. We know it is also about submitting progress reports on a quarterly basis We know that even the financial year is ending. We know a number of them are likely even not to submit their financials for the end of the year. We think it's high time that more whip is done for errant accounting officers who do not follow these public finance management regulations, especially even on areas. As you try to clear them, more accounting officers are creating them.
Government also updated the media on the economic status, addressing various challenges being faced by the public and private sector. What is clear about this Q1 expenditure releases brief and the state of the economy address is that government is fully aware of the prevailing inflation and the impact it has on livelihoods. What is left now is to see how effective the implementation of the suggested measures will be. Reporting for UBC News, Wadulo Mark Arnold in Kampala.
Now, the Inspector General of Government, Betty Kamya, has implored Wakiso district leaders to work together in the fight against corruption. She also encouraged the public to provide information that can help in recovering stolen funds, as the whistleblower will receive 5% of the recovered money.
From the floor for your participation.
The Inspector General of Government, Betty Olive Kamya, has encouraged Wakiso district leaders to cooperate in addressing corruption in the district. She also emphasizes the need to mobilize the population to provide information that enables the inspectorate in recovering public funds.
Information on all the development in Wakiso, who is doing what, and they have building plans, and how did they get the land, and how they build what. If they are public officers, we are not witch hunting anybody. We are trying to save this country, ladies and gentlemen, from what can happen if we don't all get together and fight this, Patricia called it what? COVID-19 corruption, in the face of, which is going to choke us all. We are working with the local governments, all of local governments. We are working with Kampala Capital City Authority. They have given us information. URA have given us information. Financial Intelligence Authority have given us information. We can get to banks. We know people who take money outside. We are members of...
The district leaders highlighted some of the challenges they face in their line of duty, requesting the IGG to address these issues.
Monitoring and tackling on corruption in a certain district, even if it is not Wakiso, that DC, they just give you days, you start counting your days. But who are you? Are you the first DC? To monitor government programs? They start intimidating us, threatening us. So that is why I'm requesting
that is who? Cows or politicians?
No, most especially politicians. But what I request you, Honorable IGG, in the future, you should also organize.
We have over 2,000 schools and so, with one pickup, double cabin for the education. Now, how can you ensure that the inspectorate is working, the inspector of schools? And even the other one, the one vehicle present, is not fuel.
Marian Wumcha, UBC.
And with that, we take a quick break. We return with business news. This is Lunchtime News.
Ni MTN Kabode Super as you pay mpola for this smartphone. Make calls, update your WhatsApp status, watch YouTube, and Google anything under the sun with 2 GB worth of data every month for 7 months. Simply make a small deposit of 99k and pay the balance mpola. You can pay in daily, weekly, or even monthly installments while you enjoy your new phone. So what are you doing today? Visit any MTN shop near you and get the MTN Kabode Super easy.
A World Cup in the desert? The first one in the Middle East. The first to be held at the end of the year? That's crazy. Get ready for spectacular moves, high-flying saves, unbelievable goals. Out of this world celebration.
Would you believe it? What a moment here!
All 64 matches live. That's over 5,000 action-packed minutes of the FIFA 2022 World Cup Qatar. Now that's crazy. Catch all the action only on SuperSport, your world of champions. On Go TV. Love it.
Children are a special gift, one we must protect and nurture with care. Ensuring your child has a birth certificate opens doors for them that would otherwise be hard to access, such as immunization, school admission, or simply proving their age and belonging. Let us do our duty as parents and guardians by registering our children and getting them birth certificates. For more information, visit the NERA office closest to you or call the toll-free number 0800 211 700. This message is brought to you by NERA.
Enjoy more GBs for the same price on Airtel. Shareable using 2 Gabonais. We have increased GBs across all your favorite packs. Now, 4 GB is at 10,000 shillings and 10.5 GB at 22,500 shillings, all valid for a week. For the heavy data users, enjoy 24 GB at 50,000 shillings and 50 GB at 100,000 shillings, all valid for a month. Dial *175# or use the My Airtel app to buy these and more affordable weekly and monthly data bundles on Airtel, the smartphone network.
Oh, Susan, I want to propose to Rose. Yes, and this time I am serious.
Have you guys had sex?
Duh, of course.
And have you had sex without using condoms?
Hey, Nga, you're curious.
I'm more concerned. Are you having sex with other people?
Hey, hello, is this an interview or what?
No, just things you should think about. Do you know Rose's HIV status?
Okay, this is serious. Should I be worried?
It is actually serious. Do you know your HIV status?
I think I am safe. Many times we get into situations that put us at risk of HIV. However, the first step to ending HIV is getting tested and knowing your results.
It's Time Up HIV. Call 0800 211 046 or text 8080 toll-free for more information about how to prevent HIV.
This message is brought to you by Ministry of Health with support from USAID.
Fun is our flavor. When we're together, the vibe is pretty alright. Our taste is pretty awesome. We are Uganda's #1 fruity refreshment. Enjoy Mirinda Fruity, Uganda's #1 fruity refreshment.
Get connected today with the My Airtel 4G smartphone and enjoy free data for 1 whole year worth 86,500 Uganda shillings. That's free 2 GB for the first month and free 1 GB for the next 11 months at only 250,000 Uganda shillings with free data for 1 whole year worth 86,500 shillings, making the effective price of the 4G phone 163,500 shillings only. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Welcome back. Now on business news, Ugandan and South Sudan public and private sector players have reaffirmed their commitment to scale up trade and business partnerships for mutual benefit. The pledge for improved bilateral and trade ties has been met at the ongoing South Sudan-Uganda Business Forum in Juba.
Over 200 delegates from Uganda's public and private sector have converged in Juba for the inaugural 3-day South Sudan-Uganda Business Forum. The event seeks to promote Uganda's interests in South Sudan and create a conversation geared at growing the trade and business portfolios between the two countries.
We have been facing so many challenges in this country. To promote business in South Sudan, it needs everything to be put in place. When there is no peace in this country, business cannot be run.
We have a common border, we have infrastructure that is being developed, and yet the business ties are less than $500 million. We believe that the potential between the two countries can be scaled to $3 billion easily.
In the last 8 years, Uganda's exports to South Sudan have grown exponentially at an annualized rate of 46% from an estimated $17 million in 2012 to about $357 million in 2020. The trade and business ties are expected to be strengthened further by the business-to-business as well as the government-to-government meetings at the forum.
So this is business-to-business. Uganda, South Sudan. The next meeting that will follow will be state to state, government to government. That is JPC, which will be held very soon.
Right from Koboko, Ajumani, Moyo, Gulu, name it, where the South Sudanese, they are doing the same businesses the Ugandans are doing. And the one in Kampala especially, most of them have shops, restaurants, saloons.
Although Uganda is South Sudan's biggest trading partner in the region, the nature of most enterprises being operated by its citizens are either petty or small scale that ideally should be ring-fenced for the locals.
Otherwise, we have some business people who come here, but at the end of the day, you found that they even don't have that particular capital that can really make a good businesses here. You see, what we need here is that you make your business and also you make developmental activities. That is to say, you have to build. It's not only collecting money and then you go and develop your country. This is unbecoming.
Since gaining its independence 11 years ago, trade between Uganda and South Sudan has thrived, notwithstanding with a couple of challenges. The guns have gone silent in this vast and resource-rich country of South Sudan, opening up significant business opportunities not only for Ugandan entrepreneurs, but for anyone ready to explore new markets. Dennis Igoa in the South Sudan capital of Juba.
Okay, abanyambarani tuyenda okubagambira ekigambo eki ne bakyeta
ekitimbula ekya radio UBC West tugenda kubeerawo ku University in tugenda okubeerawo mu Gardens bangi ba comedians bangi tujje tunyumirwe.
Don't miss Comedy Gata Milata
Madratan
23rd of this month.
Saturday
by the way. Abiri musatu
tuliya ku University in UBC West ekitiwapi
ekitimbule
kakasiza nti bakubeerayo wulira
eno beats ekitumbu
vimba ni MTN Kabode Super as you pay mpola for this smartphone. Make calls, update your WhatsApp status, watch YouTube, and Google anything under the sun with 2 GB worth of data every month for 7 months. Simply make a small deposit of 99k and pay the balance mpola. You can pay in daily, weekly, or even monthly installments while you enjoy your new phone. So what are you doing today? Visit any MTN shop near you and get the MTN Kabode Super easy.
And now in sports with grand finale of the African Schools Championships inside the third place classification match between the two losing semi-finalists was set to be played first as an eye-opener to the much-anticipated final. Mukono Kings SS and Standard High School set to play this match, each looking to end his African Schools campaign on high. Now, the game between the two schools would not need an entire full time to be decided, as an early goal scored by the Kings secured their third spot ahead of the Standard High School, who ended up fourth. The final between Royal Giants and Dynamic SS would take center stage. The game was closely contested, but eventually the Giants displayed their royalty as they handed Dynamic SS a 2-0 defeat to clinch the inaugural competition of the CAF African Schools Championships. Well, and that does it for Lunchtime News. Thank you for sticking with us. I am Rhoda Ngonzi. Have yourselves a lovely afternoon.